Hey folks, I'm Mac McCarty, bringing you another episode of the Rough and Tumbled channel. Hope things are going real well for all of y'all. We've been wet here the last little bit, but it's going to be dry this week. I need to get some stuff planted in the garden. Looking forward to getting that done. And I do have a real good crop of nutgrass. Any of you know what that is, nutsedge? I think it's the devil. I do. I mean, you can't hardly get rid of that stuff. Well, this next story is on the Amico R.J. Burton lease. I've told some other stories that were on that same lease, but different parts of it, different locations. This one was at a water flood facility, and it had, I believe it was 350 horse triplex motors in there, triplex pumps that are injecting that salt water in the ground. Real neat facility, real nice building where they had these pumps all enclosed in a separate room there with all the electrical control panels and electrical work and different controls and what have you. And this Amico hand, had a pump down there and needed electricians, and they sent me and a guy down there, J.A. And J.A. was a guy that, he was a man of few words, but he would visit with me when we would get in the truck and go down the road. He was a journeyman, and boy, we really had some good conversations over the years. I just thought a lot of him, and but just in general crowds and stuff, you'd never hear much come out of his mouth. And but he was a smart man. And we got down there at that water flood, and I saw this Amico company truck sitting there, and then I knew which guy I was dealing with. And I told J.A., I said, now, let's watch what we're doing here. This old boy's sometimes will mess with things. He said, all right. Well, we go in there, and of course 2 big pumps are running, and this third one was down, and he takes us through this door into the control room, and we look at this, it was like a size 4 panel, pump panel, which is a big one. And you open it, that door open, and man, I mean, this gear is full of controls. It's just got all kinds of relays and all kinds of stuff in it. It's rather complicated. And so we look at it and take the meter and check the fuses, check the voltage, check the heaters, the overloads, and then there was control voltage in there, a lot of control stuff, 480 little machine tool transformer down to 120. So there was a lot of things to check in there. And we checked all the obvious stuff, and then looked it over, the wiring, and it'd be impossible, or it'd take forever to try to trace out every little thing, and that's just not the way you approach it. And this thing wasn't running. And so J.A. said, well, here, let's just hit this bypass on the main, throw it on, and check it some more this way, and try it, do the smoke test, we used to say. And, motor is good until the smoke gets out of it. That was the rule of thumb. But anyway, J.A., there was a little bypass lever. You can have that panel open. Normally you couldn't close, you can't close the main, with that door open. It's got a thing to prevent that so it don't blow up in your face. Well, J.A. was going to pull that little safety out of the way and throw that on, and we'd done it plenty. And but he was going to do it here, and I just knocked his hand back away from it because he just reached up there and was going to do it, and I knocked his hand down. He turned and he looked at me, and it was like, what are you doing? Well, you're knocking my hand away. And I said, hang on, J.A., hang on. I said, just hang on. He said, well, and I said, it's okay. I said, okay. I said, just bear with me. And he just kind of stepped back and looked at me. And I took that door and I shut it. I latched the bolts on it. And I said, okay, J.A., get over here to the side. And I told that company hand, you get over here to this side. And I stepped over to the side where the panel was right here beside me and the main was here and the door was facing out this way and I'm looking this way too. And I took my hand and I threw that main on where I'm to the side. Man, I'm telling you, it blew the door plumb open on that thing. This big ball of fire rolled out of there. Man, I mean, that was rough. And well, then we had to figure out what was going on. Of course, I had a pretty good idea what was going on because I knew this company hand, and he was bad about, well, you ever watched a raccoon take his little fingers and mess with stuff? Well, that's the way this dude was. I think he thought he was about half electrician. He already tried to fix it and then realized he needed us. Thankfully, he hadn't thrown that main on him and burned himself up. But had J.A. had been standing in front of that panel like he was and hit that bypass, throw that on, that'd have been the end of J.A. That ball of fire right there, that'd have been the end of J.A. And so we got things tended to, and when we got in the truck to leave and we started down the road, J.A. looked at me and he said, you know, you saved my life back there. I said, probably. He said, there's no probably about it. He said, that would have just taken me out right there. He says, how did you know? How did you know? I said, well, I didn't. I didn't know. I said, but I did know the fella. And I had seen him pull stunts before. And I just didn't want you getting hurt. And I thought it's better to be safe than sorry. He said, man, you don't know how much I appreciate that. Well, that's another story from the oil patch. I hope you enjoyed it. Some of you may get the idea that it wasn't safe to be around me out there. But you got to remember, this is a dangerous world we worked in. And these stories are going over several decades. And so it didn't happen every day. The potential was there every day, but there's a lot of years going through here. So again, I hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate it if you'd share it, like and subscribe. Definitely appreciate everybody out there. Until next time, I'm Mac McCarty saying so long for the Rough and Tumbled channel.